hello, hello. This is What's Done in the Dark Tea with Tiara. And I don't know if you guys follow me on TikTok, but if you do follow me on TikTok, you know that I've been covering some stories for a few months now, but this is going to be my first YouTube story. And I thought that what better way to start, taking my platform from TikTok to YouTube would be with Love Island. So what I'm going to do tonight is we're going to just have a quick Love Island week 1 recap of what's going on with the cast and, get that out here, prepare for week 2. And at the end of each week, I'll probably do a summary, kind of talk about what happened so that we can come here, gossip and say how we feel and how, what we want to talk about for this cast. I've already been on social media and I swear you guys are hilarious watching these videos. I am obsessed. So I guess what we'll do first is, we'll just say welcome back. We are welcome back. We are here. This is our Super Bowl, okay? I don't know if men get it yet, but this is our playoff season. So tell them that they can wait on the finals. We're watching Love Island, okay? I'm just kidding. I know that everybody is going crazy for the Knicks. I've been watching Timothée Chalamet and I actually love to watch him and Kylie. I think that they look really, really cute courtside. It's all like, I think it's really good. I like seeing them happy. And we'll do more cases. I'm still in What's Done in the Dark mode. If you guys like true crime, go over to my other channel and check out What's Done in the Dark. We do deep dives every single week and we have some good stuff going on over there. But let's just get started and let's jump right into it. Okay, so first, these Islanders have some huge shoes to fill, just because we're coming off of season 6, season 7, and we had some huge breakout stars in both of those seasons, so it is going to take a lot. Well, I won't say take a lot, but, these Islanders are living up to very, very high expectations, we'll say. So, just going through the cast, the first girl that we have is Anaya. Anaya is 23 and she is from Tyrone, Georgia. Now, looking at Anaya, beautiful girl, tall girl, love her body. I think that they're really setting her up to be like the sweetheart of the season. Just my opinion. Next, we have Beatrice. And Beatrice is a Paralympian. And she is 25 from San Diego, California. My impressions of Beatrice coming into the first week, badass, very opinionated, direct, straight to the point. We'll get to more of some of the stuff that she did, but for now, we'll stick with that. Then we have Bryce. He is an OG Islander. I don't know if he was maybe supposed to be their Nick of the season because it says he is a handyman / DJ. He's from LA and he's 29 years old. I don't know if he's supposed to be the Nick. It kind of gives more of an Austin vibe, but I'm not opposed to that because I was one of the only people who might have been standing Austin last season. I thought he was a cutie, but anyway. Okay, so then we have KC. KC is 23 years old and he is from Fresno, California. We've got a lot of Californians in this one. I think Casey is cute. Just, first glance, I think that he's cute. He's got a little mischievous. He's a little mischievous in the eyes. So we'll keep an eye on Casey. But overall, I think he's very good looking and I look forward to seeing him. Next, we have Kenzie. And I will say from watching that opening, Kenzie, she is the one who's going to give it to us this season. She is going to be the one to keep us on our toes. I really hope that they keep her around. I know I've been seeing online some people have been saying they may want Kenzie off the island. I hope we keep Kenzie. I think she's needed. She provides something that the other girls don't have. I like her. Kenzie is from Kennesaw, Georgia. She's 24 and she just graduated from nursing school before she came. Our next Islander is Melanie. Melanie is beautiful. It says that she is a manager at a bikini store in Los Angeles and she's 24. A little side note on this, I actually saw on Instagram that Iris Kendall from last season said that she actually referred Melanie to this season of Love Island. Now, I don't think that they were like friends or anything like that. I think it was one of those situations where Iris went into the store buying bikinis, met Melanie, connected with her, liked her, said she should try out for Love Island, and then, so have it that she does. I mean, lucky for her. Okay. Next, we have Sean. Now, Sean is a cutie patootie. He's got a big old smile. Now, Sean is a police officer, and he is from Easton? Yeah, he's from Easton, Pennsylvania. He is from Easton, Pennsylvania, and he is 29 years old. He also has a child. So, I think this is one of the first times that we are seeing a single dad be highlighted on TV. I know that, especially on like Netflix with like, I think her name was like Jessica, maybe from, was it Love is Blind? I'm not sure, but I know that she had a daughter and that became a big part of her storyline. People loved her. They ate it up. So now we're kind of just seeing it on the other end. Last year we had Huda Mustafa, who had a child, the famous line, "I'm a mommy, mamacita." So we have, we're finally getting a puppy on Love Island. So our next Islander is Sincere. Sincere, you're not being very sincere. We'll get to that. But Sincere Rhea is from Cape May, New Jersey, and he is 25 and a track runner. Off of first impressions, I think Sincere is a gorgeous man. He has long flowing hair. I love the tan skin. He looks amazing. But there is something to be said about a man that is that attractive. He might have a wandering eye. I guess we'll have to see as it goes on. Our next Islander is Trinity. Now, Trinity is beautiful. When I first saw the reveal for Love Island, my eyes went straight to Trinity. She is beautiful. I love everything about her. I think she looks great. Her hair looks great. Her makeup looks great. I love Trinity. She's beautiful. Now, Trinity Tatum, she's from Newport News, Virginia, and she is 22. Okay, so she's on the younger end of the cast. Then our next Islander, we have Zach. And you will recognize Zach because this is Charlie from last season's younger brother. Now, Zach is from England and he is 26 years old. And I will say, I think that Zach is one of the most attractive people on the cast. I like his personality. I like his, smile. I'm really into Zach and I hope that he takes it, all the way. Now, we have Vasana. Now, Vasana actually is not on this season. She got removed from the cast because some videos were found on social media of her using the N-word. And, that had kind of been leaked. I know a lot of people were talking about Love Island vetting people correctly, but from what I can see, it looks like this may have been someone that she was friends with or, oops, sorry, I hit my mic. Someone that she was friends with, which I'm assuming not friends with anymore, who maybe had these videos from childhood and kind of kept them in the arsenal to use against her when it came time. Unfortunately for her, because this was a huge opportunity, and honestly, she was the girl I was most excited to see. I don't think that we've had very many alternative, edgy looking girls on Love Island. So before we knew anything about them, before the episode started, Vasana was my favorite female on the cast just based off looks because I liked the edge. Next, we have Gabriel. Now, Gabriel, from what I've been told, he was originally planned to be one of the OGs on the season. But when Vasana was removed, instead of adding another female right away, they took Gabriel and made him the first bombshell to come out in the villa. Gabriel is 26 years old. He's from Miami. He's tatted. He's tan. He's gorgeous. My thoughts on Gabriel we'll kind of get into as the show goes, but overall, very, very good looking man. Okay. Then we have Kata. Now, Kata is our first female bombshell, and she is from New Hampshire, and she is 22. Okay, so her and Trinity seem to be the youngest. Okay. Kata is gorgeous. Okay. I don't care what anybody says. This is a gorgeous woman from head to toe. I saw some videos that people had dropped about her as well, saying that she was a bully in school, and there was some videos showing her getting into some fights with some girls. I'm going to reserve judgment on that because it appeared in the video she was very, very young, and we don't really know any context behind those situations. So I don't know if she's a bully or if she was just a girl defending herself. I'm not really sure, but I'm just going to go off of what I know about her on Love Island. And from what I've seen on her on Love Island, this bombshell is bombshelling. She is absolutely gorgeous. And I'm assuming that any man that comes in the house would choose her, because why not? Then we have Corbin, which I actually haven't seen much of Corbin yet because, like I said, this is a week 1 kind of wind down. And Corbin, he kind of came in at the last episode, so we'll hear more from him on Sunday night and we'll kind of see. But he is from Miami. He's 22, and he definitely had a lot of the girls drooling. So we'll see more about Corbin as time goes on. Starting off strong, first episode 1. I will say it did start off a little slow for me, but I really did enjoy watching all the people come in and, everything. I enjoyed, I think Anaya and Kenzie were the first people to come in. And I always kind of feel like, I don't know if this is a true thing, but I kind of feel like the people that they send in first are kind of like their oops, I keep hitting my mic. I'm sorry. I feel like they're kind of their predictions of who's going to be kind of like the main girl that, of the season. So, Kenzie walks in with Anaya. They both look great. They're beautiful. Then the other people start coming into the villa, and, we start getting our first couples. Now, right off the bat, there was some weird stuff going on. I think the way that KC was kind of presenting himself in the beginning kind of left him in a position where weren't necessarily going to be the most interested. And I think that that's what happened, because in those first challenges, KC does not get picked, which means, and neither does Anaya. So they ultimately end up together. So the first couples end up being Casey and Anaya. We have Sincere and Melanie. We have Trinity and Bryce, Beatrice and Sean, and Kenzie and Zach. So pretty much as soon as we get into the villa, you see, people are doing their usual thing. We're having the conversations. What I found very interesting, Kenzie and Zach. Kenzie's way more into Zach than he was into her. And it was very, very obvious. I felt like he told her, hey, I'm not particularly interested, but Kenzie took it so hard. I don't know how to explain it, but she was so just into this relationship day 1. And it was he was telling her things, but it was it was going in one ear and out the other. And I already knew that was going to cause huge issues. So we move on to the first challenge, and the first challenge has them standing behind doors, and behind the doors they are answering questions, about their desires and wants and trying to see like who are they compatible with behind the door. So they're playing that game, and then there are also these red and green dots that are on the floor where they have to stay on the, if you want to explore, I believe it's the red dots. If you want to stay together, it's the blue dots. So ultimately, the people that chose not to stay together were Trinity and Bryce. Beatrice, she chose to see the new Bombshell. And on the guy side, I believe Zach chose to explore the Bombshell, as did Bryce. So the Bombshell comes out, kisses both of the ladies, kisses both of the men behind the doors, and then they go off. They're sent to this weird, like, kind of like hideaway type situation, like on day one, which was very weird. And I'm not going to lie, I hated the setup of this because it was like one large bed, and I was like, this is just way too freaked out for me. I did not like that. But so they get into the rooms, and we have Gabriel, the Bombshell, and Kata with their people. So it's Gabriel, Trinity, and Beatrice, and then we have Kata with Bryce and Zach. Now, immediately, even though these things are supposed to be open, you can already tell who's kind of leaning toward who. We get some very awkward moments during these like getaways. We have Trinity sitting on the bed while Gabriel and Beatrice are hardcore making out, and she's just sitting there with her flute of wine. Then we have the most probably awkward scene of the show that has happened yet, where Zach and Kata are cuddling in the bed, and Bryce kind of scoots over to them. And immediately gets rejected by Kata, and it was hard to watch. It was very, very cringe. So fast forward, Sean is kind of spiraling. He doesn't understand why Beatrice would kind of throw away their connection, and Kenzie is spiraling out of control. She feels like Zach did not tell her that he was interested in other people, which I feel like he was pretty upfront. But for Kenzie, that was not enough. So, you know how these things work in Love Island. We end up at the fire pit, and while we're at the fire pit, the texts are going off. People have to pick who they want to be with, blah, 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 blah. So, of course, Kata picks to be with Zach. Beatrice picks to be with Gabriel, and they are couples. That means that Bryce is still open, so him and Trinity go back together and they end up being a couple. But Sean and Kenzie, they're single and they've got to mingle. Sean, I think, I'm not sure if Sean and Kenzie are really like, if they actually really like each other, or if it's more of a convenience thing. But Sean and Kenzie do kind of, give each other a little bit of attention. Then we see, this is where the drama really kicks up, because I'm not going to lie, I'm probably skipping around a lot, but I do feel like there were kind of some of these episodes where there was not a lot going on. It was a lot of filler. So, Sincere, who... Why are you not being sincere? Sincere, who, whenever Kata came into the house, Melanie asked Sincere, like, what does she look like? What is she like? What are any of these things? And Sincere is completely, I didn't even see her. I don't know what her eyes look like. She kind of looked like you, but I wasn't really paying attention. He is trying to distance himself from his attraction to Kata, and it's very obvious. So he does that. He's telling Melanie all of this, and she's, I guess she's feeling satisfied with whatever. Zach is still trying to talk to Kenzie. Kenzie is not going for it. She refuses to talk to Zach, and I think maybe after like the second or third time of him trying to speak to her, he just says, you know what, never mind. We don't have anything to talk about. If you're good, I'm good. And after flashback to Sincere, after Sincere says like, hey, I don't know anything about this girl. Come to find out, he pulls that same girl for a chat. He pulls Kata for a chat. Now, granted, I don't think that the chat was anything harmful, but I definitely think that the way that he went about it is what initially got Melanie spiraling. Not saying that, maybe spiraling is in her nature. We will see. But I think that that's what initially pushed her over the edge was him not speaking to her that day and kind of how he played that situation. So once Melanie saw that Sincere was talking to Kata, her whole personality kind of shifted. She started getting this little hint of crazy in her eyes. It's funny because I have so many friends that get that little twinge of crazy in their eyes, and I always know it's going to be a long night. So whatever. So Melanie, she's not feeling it. They go to the challenge the next day, and the challenge the next day is pretty much like this workplace challenge where everybody's in these like cute, colorful business outfits. They get up on the desk, they're giving it all they got. They're shaking it. They're picking their work crush. They're going back into a room. And when they're back into the room, little do the guys know, but the new bombshell Corbin is in there. He's going through. He's kissing each girl one by one, making a list, checking it twice, finding out who's naughty or nice. That's what's going on. So during this challenge, we get some very iconic moments. For one, Kenzie did the damn thing. Kenzie got up there covered in slime, shaking it, hitting those splits that she loves to. And I just overall think that she did really great in the challenge. I think her performance was the best one. But then the mess comes because so Melanie, who is still upset at Sincere, but not taking it out on Sincere, she decides that she is going to dunk Kata. She selects Kata as like, I can't even remember exactly what the question was, like something about like the person who's like the most shady, or it was something along those lines, something like that. I should have looked it up, but whatever. So she dunks Kata. Kata falls into the slime, still looks like a 10, whatever. She looks good. Everything's good. But Melanie honey, Kata also has a turn to go. So when Kata gets her turn to go and it's her turn to slime somebody, she picks Sincere. And her question was, who needs to leave their couple? Like, who needs to be in a new couple? Sincere. Then Kata, being the badass that she is, whenever it gets to the point of who is your work crush, she picks Sincere and she puts it on this man. And Melanie has to sit there with this shit-eating grin watching the drama that she essentially started, okay? So that there's like a little tension after this. They get back to the house. Everybody's talking. This part was a little weird for me because I'm not understanding Melanie's switch up. Like, I feel like if you were going to do that, you should have just stood on it, but that's not what happened. So Melanie talks to Kata. She's asking Kata, like, why did you do that? Blah, 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 blah. Kata's like, girl, you did it to me. Melanie's kind of giving, oh, well, I only picked you because you were the last person in, blah, 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 blah. Bullshit. We know that's not why she picked her. You were jealous. That's why you picked her. So they kind of do like this fake, pound it, hug thing. Kata's a real one. She's like, hey, don't. I'm not with the hugs. We ain't got to do all the hugging. We ain't got to do the hugs. So that goes on. And then we have a little flash forward to our hot new bombshell, Connor, right? That's what I said. Our hot new bombshell, he comes out, the one from Miami, and he's sitting around the fire pit and he is talking to the women. Now, this is like probably the funniest part of Love Island. Actually, there's been some really funny parts from Casey's face when there was nobody behind the door. Just there's been some pretty funny stuff that's going on. Mostly Casey's facial expressions have been getting me through, but so the bombshell shows up. He's sitting around the fire pit. He's talking to all the girls. And this is where stuff gets a little bit messy because the guys are sitting across from them and they are watching the girls talk to the guys. And every single guy over there is very nervous about his relationship, his partnership. They're sitting there watching, nail biting. Everybody is super nervous. Okay, so if you see the way that the seats are set up, so I guess Melanie, who is sitting closest to the bombshell, she is leaning forward to have these conversations, and Kinsey and Trinity are sitting on the other side of her. So every time she leans up, she is blocking their view from talking to him. You can hear in the footage them say like, "Hey, sit back, blah 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 blah. Sit back, we can't see. We can't talk to him, blah, 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 blah." And she appears to. But then as he's answering this question about like his last relationship and all of this stuff like that, Melanie does the weirdest shit ever. And she just, in the middle of him talking, is like, "Hey, can I pull you for a chat with all of these women sitting here?" And I mean, we all know that she's doing this to, get a rise out of Sincere. Like, but to me, this just seems so unhinged because like, we're not even that far into the villa yet. And don't get me wrong, Sincere is fine. I'd probably be crashing out too because Kate is fine, Sincere is fine, whatever. But there's going to be plenty of men coming in this villa, and I'm pretty sure Melanie's a beautiful girl. She's going to have her pick of the men that she wants. Okay, but either way, she pulls him for a chat. All the guys are kind of, scrambling, trying to figure out what's going on. And then when they come all back together, the girls are having a conversation, and they're pretty much expressing how they thought that what Melanie did was weird, and the way that she kept leaning up and blocking them from talking to people kind of was a problem. And I do like that Beatrice is a very direct woman, but I will say in this particular situation, I think that it was more coming from a place of like kind of being shady, because I think that she honestly said something to Melanie because she wanted, she wanted Kinsey to talk to the new bombshell to ultimately get Kinsey away from Gabriel, because Gabriel and Kinsey had been kind of connecting. And since she destroyed things with Sean, Gabriel is her only choice. And I don't know, well, I'm not saying her only choice, but the only man that she's really focusing on right now, which I don't think would be a good idea, because what I didn't say whenever I was talking about Gabriel's cast picture before is, to me, he is too sexual for me. I can understand, I can see the sexual tension. I think that he's a very, very attractive guy. But he's a little too freaked out for me. Like the kissing, the over sensuality. I think that would just burn me out. I would be a little creeped out by it. It's not for me, but it's for her, but it's not for me. So she is a little upset, in trying to get Kinsey to talk to the new bombshell to steer her away from Gabriel, because Gabriel has expressed, even though he kind of expressed 3 different sentiments on how he felt about Kinsey, there is some level of interest in Kinsey, appears to be his normal type of woman, whatever. So when Melanie returns back to the fire pit, she is confronted by Beatrice about her behavior and her sitting forward. And where I do feel like Beatrice was calm and collected, she wasn't getting out of character, I think that Melanie, in this heightened situation and in all of that, I don't really think that she's thinking that much about the feelings of other women. And that's not saying that that's a right thing. I just don't think that she's like purposely going out of her way to like hurt any of the other females. I just think that she just doesn't really care about them. I think that she's just one of those people that she kind of lives for herself. She's always been the number one. She's always been the prettiest. And I think it's hard for her to be in an environment where there are other women who are equally as attractive as she is. But either way, she returns back to the fire pit. Bea says, confronts her about the situation, and Melanie immediately starts to crash out. She's hitting her with the relax. And I think that at this moment she really had an out, because I feel like Trinity was like, "Girl, I just think that you weren't thinking, you were just caught up in the moment. And she could have went with that. But something about Bia questioning her really like hit her somewhere deep in her soul. And whenever, Bia said that, she just completely lost it. And she's like, no, I need 10. I need 10. She's walking around. She's making a big deal. Everybody is kind of watching. One of the funniest parts of this whole episode, though, was whenever she's crashing out, she runs up to Kata, who is off with Zach, and they're having a conversation. And she's like, I just need someone to talk to. And Kata hits her with the, like, she didn't even try to be fake. She didn't try to do any of that. Kata was like, look, girl, we are not friends. I'm not rushing to help talk to you. And then you can kind of hear Anaya in the back. Oh, I've got it. I'll take care of it. I'll go talk to her, even though Melanie has also stepped on Anaya's toes by pulling Casey. And I don't even think Melanie really likes Casey. I think that was just like a vengeful thing. And then that goes back to what I was saying. I don't think that she considers other people because, Anaya is supposed to be one of her closest friends. And she didn't even talk to her first about pulling Casey. And I think Anaya is trying so hard to be a nice girl that she's not letting people know that they're kind of stepping on her toes, which I hope is something that changes. But yeah, you kind of just see the episode just wrapping and Melanie is crashing out. And, I think that this is going to be a very interesting season. Now, when I was first watching the first couple of episodes or whatever, it was very hard for me to get connected to the cast. I didn't really like anybody, and I'm still working to have my favorites and everything, but I felt the same way last year. I didn't really have people that I loved as a couple last year. I mean, I thought Olandria and Shelley were some of the most beautiful women I'd ever seen. Shout out to Nick. I think the same way that you do. And my favorite guy was always Nick. He was the only guy that I really found attractive last year. So, yeah, I think that, it's always a little hard for me to, like it in the beginning. They really have to grow on me. But I am hopeful because if last season we got Nicolandria, then I feel like this season we're going to get something good too. My only thoughts for this season is I really hope that it's just not as toxic for these contestants as it was for last season's, because as the interviews have happened for the people who competed last season, one thing that comes up over and over and over again is kind of their mental health and how it was just incredibly hard to navigate life after the villa with so much scrutiny and so many eyes on them because it had gotten so big. And I do know that this is something that, they sign up for, but at the same time, I think that they're still just humans, and they're young, they're living their lives, they're dating, and they're doing all of it on TV, which I mean, of course, is going to open them up to it. But I think people should be, a little more accepting of, a little more gracious. I won't say accepting, a little more gracious. And I'm not saying that, people shouldn't be held accountable for their past actions. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm just saying that while the people that have made it on the show, I think that we should try to remember that they're going to get off of the show and see the things that we're saying about them. And mental health is very important. So I just think we should keep that in mind. But new episode comes out Sunday night. I'm so excited to see this. Hopefully I get this episode up for you on Monday. And then I'll be coming back with recaps every single weekend. Hopefully next week I can get these out a little bit faster. I'm running to social media, so stuff is getting a little difficult sometimes, but I will be back here for the recaps. I will be here for all the messy. We will be posting and discussing. Maybe we should do more of that on TikTok. I have been posting on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, but I post more of my stories. But maybe we can do some discussions on Love Island. Maybe we could do that on Facebook, on TikTok. I don't know. You guys let me know. You guys go out and follow me, What's Done in the Dark Tea, on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. If you're into true crime, current events, spooky shit, Please follow me on What's Done in the Dark podcast, or What's Done in the Dark with Tiara. That is my true crime podcast. You can come over there. We've got tons of spooky, all the things that you enjoy. If you're like me, both of these things are your bread and butter, so you can check them out both. But I will be back next week and we will talk about more Love Island. And I'm actually going to take notes this time so that we can break down the episodes more piece by piece. This time was kind of just off memory, so I know it was a little bit all over the place and chaotic, but I wanted to get this out here while week 1 had just wrapped. So, if you miss a little bit of Love Island, you'll fall behind. But either way, I hope that you guys are enjoying Love Island season. We're going to be here to discuss all the drama and tea. I think actually next time I'll actually go live video format so you can see me, we can talk to each other, we'll work that out. But yeah, I look forward to doing this Love Island journey with you guys, and remember, what's done in the dark never stays there for long, and it damn sure won't stay there for long while I'm around. Y'all have a good night, and I will see you next week.